and welcome to In Between Sets. This is episode 5. We're going to be talking about busy schedules. What else did I say?
She said, we're going to do this one, no notes. I was like,
No
perfect.
notes.
We'll see how this goes.
No notes, baby. Right off the top of the old noggin.
No, so we had put out a question box, like when we first were launching it, of just like, hey, what kind of stuff do you guys want to hear? Not that we got many questions.
There was like 5.
We have a lot of followers,
A lot
okay?
of followers.
But the, like, of the however many we got, like half of them or more were staying on track with a busy schedule, like setting boundaries, things like that. And so we wanted to just kind of like talk through what that looks like.
Yeah.
So
and any other kind of like tidbits that we're going to get into, fitness related, and also just kind of life related.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I wanted to ask first though. Okay, no, I didn't want to ask first. I have 2 thoughts that we're starting this podcast out with. My first thought was like, okay, I need to work on the introduction of this podcast.
Yeah,
right?
You
like,
start and
right. So that's great. I mean, now it's kind of become a thing. But I was like, it sounds to me like when I say that, I want to introduce you. And standing at 5'7", she's mean, she's green, she's like, just like some sports, like, and then have some like music that plays behind.
Remember
you,
when
like,
they had that thing set up at church for like the Super Bowl that we took pictures behind?
Yeah.
Caitlin was not joking. Like, she was being so for real that like she's fully convinced she could be a sports broadcaster.
Yes.
And she was like practicing her set as if there wasn't like 70 people behind us in line at church to take a photo in this thing.
Because it was they had it set up for the
funny.
Super Bowl, and like they had this backdrop and everything that was like, and so I just propped up and I wore specifically to church.
Oh, you did?
I wear a blazer and like leather shorts and like what I would wear if I was like an on like field sports broadcaster.
Oh my gosh. And what people might not know about us is that like Caitlin's like a man when it comes to sports, in the sense of like she got banned to her room when we lived together for football games.
Mm-hmm.
Like you would hear her like yelling at the TV, like it was, and I have no clue, this always surprises people, but I'm like, go sports.
Yeah,
like
not a sports
no
girly.
idea. Like I could not identify like the NFL team.
I would love when you would just I was working and I had on the back on like the TV on Netflix when like the special came out about the Florida Gators, like Tim Tebow. You know?
Oh yeah, I watched that documentary. She was so proud of me.
Yes, I was so proud. I was like, it's kind of one of those things like, oh, don't turn it. She's actually interested. Let her watch it. And I'm over here like kind of working on the
because
table.
that gave me like the drama behind it. It wasn't like
well, that was a very drama filled.
I have so
team.
I have so many things with. I'll go to a sports game in person.
Yeah,
like I love a good time.
Sure,
like live events, like music.
Love a good time.
Here for a good time. But like on a TV, first of all, like how do you follow a ball? It's like so small, so I like never know who has it. So my eyes are like every time I'm trying to watch, like it's not entertaining.
You did watch
for me.
the Johnny Manziel one with me too.
Yeah, documentary.
Documentary.
I'm all about a storyline.
Oh yeah, totally.
I could go for a storyline.
Like Kyle and I would be Kyle would be standing there, arms crossed, typical guy, like standing up, and he's watching the Cowboys and whatever, and I'm like laying down. I'm like, yeah, but their defense, blah blah, and Abigail's just like, okay.
How do you know which one's offense and defense?
Have you seen that couple that he like explains sports to her as
if it's a drama? Or whatever.
And she's like, oh, okay, the T,
she's
right? Like,
it.
She's following it. I saw another one that
me.
was like the Masters, because that just happened,
and even that, like, what is people's deal with like I have people that I'm like, I've never once seen you watch or play golf, and you're like, the Masters are on. Like,
it's I don't. Boo.
Boo. Thumbs down.
I don't necessarily like golf.
But you probably put the Masters on.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
Because I don't. I that's probably like my least favorite sport, and it's fine. Like, but I did see all the clips, and I do know names. So when Rory won, like he's never won. I know he's never won.
Dog?
Yeah, your dog.
My dog
She has a dog named Rory. When Rory won, like they had all these like TikTok like mashups or whatever, and I sports cried. Like, cause I know. If you're listening to this, you just rolled your eyes. Okay? I sports cried because like I love sports.
I know you do.
And
the thing is, again, like ask me to go to a game in person. I'm
Yeah,
so down.
Totally down for a good
all
time.
about it. And then I'll wear the gear.
Sure.
I'll wear the color, whatever color you want me to wear.
Yeah.
Like I'll rep, and I'll be fun to go with.
Yeah.
I'll follow it.
Oh,
I won't talk.
100%.
I'll watch.
Yeah.
Get that off my TV. I don't want to hear the noise. I don't want to hear the screaming. I don't want to hear the commentating.
Oh, and also
Why is baseball season so long?
You'll also go watch to like a Super Bowl party because like you get to like the
I love
meals,
a theme.
and you love a theme.
I love a theme.
And you love to like cook for like I remember whatever you made, like a football cupcake cake.
Oh yeah, the little cheesy bread.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the cheesy bread.
But then you have to like ruin the party by watching the game the whole time.
Yeah.
I'm like, ugh.
Anyway, so that's
Complete side note.
That's where we differ in that way. Sports girly, not sports girly, but that's okay because there's got to be one.
It always has to be one.
I
have no idea how we just got there.
Because I wanted to introduce us like sports, like standing at 5'7", and anyway, I thought about that on the way over here. I was like, man, I should really work on that introduction. I was like, let's just start naming our stats. Like, has 2 businesses, can run a mile in 6:29. It is kind of
like when you have those big podcasts where they'll be like, everybody gets an introduction and then they go through all your stats or whatever.
Right, yeah.
Like,
we should do that one day. Anyway, well, not today. We'll do that one day.
We'll just show up with a musical intro at some point, and then you guys will be like, oh, wow, they sound legit.
Oh, they got their shit together.
Yeah, right?
The other thing I was going to talk about, it will just have to come to me. Because I forgot.
The other catch-up?
Because I forgot. Anyway.
Okay, but as of right now, go ahead.
Yeah.
Now you remember.
There it is.
That's what happens when you have no notes.
It wasn't that. Allie was like, this is a good podcast because y'all don't like yap too long, y'all flow. And I was like, that was episode 1. I was like, you just wait.
You just wait.
I was going to say what other people don't know about us is like our toxic trait is thinking that we can do anything.
You literally said that about me on episode 1 of like.
Okay, great. Yeah.
Of Delulu.
Yeah. Delulu. Yeah. Like you asked me this a time before where you're like, what's the one thing that you think you could do immediately, hands down? No, like I was like, hand me a mic, put me on a football field. I will put Aaron Andrews to shame. Like I won't. But like that is the way that I think about that kind of thing. And you at the time you were watching Suits and you're like, I could be a lawyer.
Oh yeah.
You were like, I
could crush it. Yeah. I know I could do it.
Honestly, I agree with that.
I'm good at arguing.
You are so good at arguing. You're so good at like stating a point.
Right.
Also fighting for justice. Like and being like, that's wrong. And you know why?
Do
like you could do it. So if you don't want to go to medical school anymore, just
go to law school. Remember, I did tell Kyle when I was watching Suits, I was like, I changed my mind. I think I'm going to go to law school.
Yeah.
Like, might as well have a GI Bill.
Yeah.
And he, like, Kyle's just so used to it at this point.
Right.
Where he'll be like,
that's nice, sweetie.
You can, I literally, what's so funny is I took a screenshot. You'll laugh at this. I took a screenshot earlier because I was going to send it to you and be like, I love this phase of Kyle right now because he's just gotten used to it.
Right.
So I'm like telling him about this like big investment that I want to make that's like
large.
A lot of money, right? And I was like, I think I have it all figured out, like low risk, this and that, like blah, 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 blah. I just need this amount of money and we'll be good. And he goes, well, that sounds great. Just tell me what I need to do.
Man, you've only been married for a year and he's always like, okay, what do I need to do? It's not even like year 3,
like
year
everybody
4,
will be like, because, I go from like the military, which is kind of like people are like, oh, how's your husband feel about that?
Sure.
To like, oh, I'm going to med school at 30. How's your husband feel about that? I'm like, if y'all just need to meet him.
Yeah.
He's just like, okay, cool.
Yeah, what do you need me to do?
Yeah, let me know.
How can I support you?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Like, whatever. Like,
he'd be like, hey, I'm going to borrow $1 million to go do this. He'd be like, okay, cool. Just let me, do I need to pick up a few more clients?
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
so
thanks.
A winner.
I know,
He's
right?
a winner. Okay, now we can get into the things. Yeah. That's what I was just going to say.
Completely
besides
the point. Oh, wait, last thing.
Oh.
Because we were just talking about it before the episode started. You are 19 weeks out of prep at this point?
Yes, 19 weeks away from my show.
I guess, so not prep yet.
Yeah, I honestly
You know how long your prep's going to be yet?
Last one was 15 weeks.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm sitting around, honestly, the same, like, where I started last time, I'm 140, 141. Right. So, like, it was the same as last time.
But your comp is way different.
My comp is way different, which is great. We did a great off season for, like, 6 months, 7 months, whatever. But, so I don't know. I know the opposite side of that is like, okay, I'm not carrying as much body fat as last time.
Mm-hmm.
However, we did want to get a little bit leaner
Right.
last time.
So
We
what's
wish
that
we
gonna
would have
look
got
like?
it. So we might be
Start a
starting
little early.
soon. I don't know, Megan.
Yeah. Let us know.
Time to lock in.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I don't know quite yet, but
Okay.
I'm really pumped about this one.
Yeah, I'm excited because this, like, you got the, what's the word? Like, it was how we felt after the first podcast of like, okay, you got the
first one's done.
jitters out of your system,
first
and now
one's
it's like, okay, I know what to expect. I know what needs to be
Yeah.
done. Like,
I've heard
I
that
can lock in.
every prep is different.
Yeah.
Because obviously every season of life is different.
Right.
But now that I do kind of have an understanding of what is going to be expected from me and where I can maybe dig in a little bit deeper,
Right.
then I think this one's going to be really, really, really good.
Yeah. Oh, I'm excited.
Anyway, let's talk about like segue into
Segue.
busy.
I was literally gonna say seasons.
Yeah, segue into busy schedules.
Hard pivot.
Yeah, hard pivot. No, yeah, you were right about the girl messaging us about like, and even Brooke brought this up where she
Yeah.
was like, I drive 45 minutes to work. I work, 9 to 4, 9 to 3 ish, whatever. Can't get steps in. I'm at a super sedentary job. And then I want to go to the gym, but that's also like I'm driving back in. That's another hour. Sometimes there's traffic. Like, and it's just like, what would be, I feel like you're the most well-versed person on this to talk about like, well, you had a job that required so much of you all the time, especially when it came to travel. Like recruiting is just like, you're either sitting at a desk, sedentary, you're doing paperwork, you're doing all these things, or you're out recruiting and you're having to be on, quote unquote, for the Marines, hoorah, or whatever you guys say.
Hoorah, get it right.
Yeah. And yeah, so I wanted to just kind of like dive into that as much as we could to help people understand like how to navigate the busy schedules.
What's funny is I feel like I'm gonna go back to this a couple times because like you always laugh at me for it, but I would say like if you were to ask me, what, 5 or 6 years ago now, because people have always asked me that question of like, how do you do this with and balance all of this kind of stuff, and this was like, no, I wasn't like a mom yet, but I did have a very, very busy job, like, and so it's always been a question that I've got of like, what, like, how do you do this, or like, what's your tips on da 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 da? And I think like 5 years ago, I would have said, nobody cares, work harder. like that would have been my mindset. Like my mom would laugh because it was literally like the background on my phone, like all that kind of stuff. And I think there's like a little bit of validity in it in the sense of like, not making, you can only make so many excuses for yourself before you get like sick of your own shit.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Aren't you tired?
Yeah.
Is
aren't
what
you
we
tired?
would say a lot.
Yeah.
Aren't you tired?
And so there's some validity in that. However, I think the difference now is that like I have a little bit more, I never know the right word, empathy or sympathy for people.
Empathy.
I
don't think either one of us are very sympathetic.
We're not.
Empathetic.
Yeah. So now I'm a little bit more empathetic with and look at like, no, I get it. Like it is tough. Like adding in fitness and all of that kind of stuff, it's not convenient at first, especially if you're the mom that, has kids at home, has to wake up and commute to work, has to go to work, has to come home, has to be on for her kids, has to do all of these things. And you're like looking at your schedule, like, okay, how do I actually add in an hour to go to the gym or X amount of time to meal prep instead of just going home and going to sleep or stopping at whatever the case may be. And so I say all that to say like my thought process behind it and like my advice is like wildly different than it would have been 5 years ago.
Right.
But like you were saying, I think between like the Fleet Marine Corps and then recruiting, both very, very busy seasons
100%.
in life, but very busy in different ways. And so like when I was in the fleet, so when I lived in North Carolina, like I worked a lot, I was in the field a lot, I was deployed, I was doing all of that type of stuff. But the difference was that like my day to day was pretty set in stone. So like I would wake up at 4 and go to the gym every morning from like 5 to 7. Crazy, like very early, all of that kind of stuff. But again, I had that whole like nobody cares, work harder mindset. But it was a little bit easier because yeah, it's a hard habit to set, but then once you set it, like you're kind of just used to it. And that's like the time you get up and you go to the gym and it's uninterrupted and then you go to work type of thing. Then you move into recruiting and the season is like, okay, I wasn't deploying. I wasn't like going out to the field. I wasn't doing this kind of stuff, but my schedule was a lot more unpredictable. So it wasn't like, hey, every morning from 5 to 7 I can work out, because some days I had to travel, some days I had to work out with the poolies, some days, and so like every day was different. And so that was actually really hard for me to figure out, okay, how do I manage fitness into this type of busy schedule? Although like, again, I was still able to like sleep and go to a normal gym and like that, because I wasn't in the field,
Right.
But again, just a very different type of busy. Kind of rambling there, but
No.
I just kind of set that up in the sense of like I've been there, and obviously now you guys will get to see like the busy season with like adding a baby and like, okay, how does fitness going to school, like how does that fit into my life? And so anyway, just wanted to kind of give a background on that. So remind me of the actual question.
No, the question was just how did you, like, we were just kind of starting it off like, you know, someone asked like, how do you balance it? Like, how do you make it a priority? And I think you hit the nail on the head is, well, I want to kind of back up to like, fitness for you has become as so simple as brushing your teeth.
Right.
Like, it has become such a like ingrained, like, if I don't do this, I feel like I'm missing something of my day, right? Like, you've gotten yourself worked up to a place where like it's a non-negotiable.
Right.
It's a habit that's like, just again, like brushing your teeth. So for you to fit it in, it was just kind of like, again, a non-negotiable.
Right.
But for someone that's
who's
just starting, like, what kind of advice would you give them? And I have a couple tidbits, but I think you can really hit the nail on the head with that.
Yeah, so I kind of have two main ones. The first thing is that, again, I think a lot of times we look at it as, okay, I don't have an hour to work out plus 30 minutes on the front and back end to drive to the gym. Therefore, I don't have time for fitness. And I think, like, that's the wrong way of looking at it, especially for somebody who's super busy. So again, the mom that has to commute and all this kind of stuff, like, that's not realistic, and it's not a habit yet. And so it's not easy. It is hard to start. And so the first thing is like looking at your schedule, and it's like, where do I have 15 minutes? Right? And then what are 5 or 10 workouts that I can post on my wall, I can do at home with no equipment, and it requires no effort. I already have the plan. I'm going to pick one of those workouts, and I'm going to do it right here on my living room floor, nothing required. And I say it like as simple as possible, because it's like, it's a lot easier to manage. Like, okay, I have 15 minutes, and it might sound counterintuitive to like some previous podcasts we did of like, you got to follow the, you know, the getting in the gym and the boring program in this, but I'm saying this as far as starting a habit, right? Of, can you move your body for 15 minutes, 5 days a week? And build the habit. And again, it's hard sometimes because you're like, oh, I'm not going to get any results off of 15 minutes, 5 days a week.
I want you to just talk in that voice the rest of the podcast.
Yeah, right. I'm just kidding. That's my mimicking people's voice.
Yeah.
It's like, you might not get a ton of results, but what you are doing is building mental resiliency.
Yes.
You're building the habit. All of those types of things. So it's starting with something very, very small, and then building it up from there. Because like, I didn't wake up at 15 years old and work out at 5 a.m. for 2 hours a day. Like, it didn't happen that way. And to expect somebody to do that, or to expect yourself to do that, is like, it's crazy.
Right.
But if you look at, because I don't have an hour a day, like, I don't have time for anything. Like, 15 minutes is not worth it. It's like, no, it is worth it.
Right.
Like, 15 minutes is better than 0 minutes.
Yes.
And so starting there. And then adding on to that, the second thing I would say is, I give the analogy to, or I used to give the analogy to my poolies a lot of, the pen and pencil method on your calendar. Have you ever heard that? I might have made it up, but don't quote me on that.
No, it's like an Abigail Wall
Maybe
Murphy
it is
special.
Maybe.
Yeah. I'm gonna quote you on it.
I don't know if I did, so maybe I stole it for somebody. But when you have your planner out for the day, all the things in pen are like the things that like is impossible to move, right? So you have to put, if you work a desk job, your 8 to 5 work, that's in pen. Maybe you have the gap for lunch, but that's not in pen, right? If you're a mom, like maybe your kid's soccer game is in Penn. Like all of those things are in Penn.
Mandatory.
And mandatory, like
require
you have
be
to
there.
go.
Yes.
Right. Then you have things that are in pencil. Like a lot of times it's like happy hour with your friends or whatever the case may be. You have these like things that you can kind of like move around and shift. And like, I don't have to do my laundry at 5 a.m. on Monday. Like it can be done at 10 a.m. on Tuesday. Like things like that, right? But you have to be very intentional about that. Meaning like you have to sit down and you have to write out, okay, one, what are my priorities? So like work and family.
You have to get out your color-coded.
You have to get out your color-coded planner. Right? But like, what are your priorities? So if it's work and family and those things all go in Penn.
Yeah.
And if you're wanting to add fitness into it, fitness needs to become one of those things that is in Penn.
Gotcha.
And that's something that I really learned on recruiting duty because I couldn't set my workout at the same time every day like I could previous. Right. Even though it was 5 a.m., it was still consistent.
Sure.
Whereas recruiting, it wasn't. And so it was like, okay, I have to be intentional about planning my week out and looking at my schedule and like, okay, where do I have the gaps that I can work out? Those gaps are fitness is going in Penn in those times. That means nobody can schedule an appointment with me. Nobody, like I won't book hanging out with a friend.
This literally goes into like our next thing, talking about boundaries.
Yeah.
Right? Like you're talking about setting a boundary for yourself and like respecting that boundary. Like respect starts when you respect the boundary that you're setting.
Yeah.
Like other than that, you're just disrespecting yourself. Or my biggest thing that I tell clients is like, okay, you set this time to be at the gym 7 a.m. on Monday and you go, oh yeah, but I didn't get some sleep last night, or we start negotiating with ourselves. And like, that is the most disrespectful thing you can do to yourself, is make yourself a promise or make yourself an intention and then go back on it. Because how would you feel if I were like, hey, Abigail, I'm going to do all these things for you. I'm going to I'm going to be there. I'm going to whatever. And then every time I was going to go do that thing, I just said, oh, I actually had this come up. Oh, actually, you would start to lose trust in me.
Right.
You would start to lose faith in me. It's the same thing with ourselves when we don't uphold the boundaries and promises we make to ourselves.
Well, and the thing that, and the same thing that happens with boundaries in any other sense is like, if you overpromise, you're always going to underdeliver.
Sure.
So it's like when you're starting this process out, again, put it in pen, but make it for 15 minutes at home in your, right? So it's like, I can, one, build confidence and under promise, over deliver, right? Because that's how you gain motivation that we don't always have. And then I think too, it causes you to like intentionally like look ahead and make the decision on Sunday, Monday, whatever. Yeah. Versus like you get the decision fatigue, I think is what is called, right? At the end of the day when it's like, okay, now I have to figure out what I'm going to wear, when I'm going to go to the gym, if I have
what I'm working out,
like you have the plan set in stone. And so like literally on my planner, my handwritten planner, because I'm a weirdo, would literally be like legs with Caitlin at a certain time, or like back with whoever, all of that kind of stuff. So it was one less thing I had to make a decision on. And again, like the grace piece comes into play of like, okay, this day was way like crappier than I anticipated. I'm going to go because I said I was going to go. I'm going to get in 30 minutes or like whatever. Because again, it's just like anything is better than nothing, but you're keeping the momentum going and building the habit. And then you get to a place where it's like drinking water, like brushing your teeth or whatever.
You're in there for an hour. It's a non-negotiable. You're doing it 3 times a week. I think to piggyback off of what you're saying is it doesn't have to be 6 times a week for an hour, like we talked about this in I think the second episode when we were like, set your like intentions or what your goals are, get very specific about them and recognize what kind of time, what kind of season of life you're in to commit to them. Like I think clients, they come to me or they come to you and they're like, I don't know what to do, because I need direction. And we're like, cool. How much time can you commit to the gym? Well, I don't know that I can commit to the gym. So like, can you do anything from home? Yeah. Do you have 2 hours out of your week? And they're like, oh, actually, yeah, I could probably do that. Great. That's all we need to get started. Yeah. That's it. Like, then when you get comfortable with those 2 hours and you're like, actually, I think I could do another. Like, actually, I think I do 3 days a week. Cool. That's 3 hours out of your week that you can commit to yourself, to putting yourself first. Yeah. And like, I think when it comes to like moms or people who are, you know, have 9 to 5s and then families and all of that, like, and especially, honestly, everyone. I'm
Yeah.
not just going to say moms. I am really going to say everyone, but moms specifically too. As soon as their feet hit the floor, they are serving everyone else.
Yeah.
They are literally catering to everyone else's needs, desires, wants, carpooling, this, that. Like, I'm not going to say that men don't do that either. I've just noticed that a lot with my moms. Like,
Yeah.
it is so important to start your day with some sort of intention and like checking in with yourself. So that could be your workout, or it could be going on a walk for 10 minutes. Like,
Right.
doesn't have to be a lot of time. I think that that's the really key thing that we're talking about here is like, it doesn't take a lot.
It doesn't. And I think I would even go as far as to like challenge somebody who's just getting started to actually set a boundary with yourself. If you're just starting, don't let yourself do more than 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And I say that because it's
Yeah.
like you do it an hour this day because you have the time, and then you can't the next day, and you
feel like a failure.
You're a failure. And it's like, again, you're just starting. So like cut yourself off at the 15 minutes and do that for a month.
Right.
Then go to 30 minutes, then go to 45. But it kind of goes back to like the, hey, we want to do everything all at once and get the results in 8 weeks. And I'm like, when you do that, it's not sustainable, and you're going to be back to where you
Right.
were
We
at
have
before.
to feel like it's successful.
Yeah.
In order for a habit to stick and start forming and start like, we have to feel that it's successful for us because everyone asks me all the time, like anytime I do a question box on my story, they're like, hey, what's the best workout if I want to lose this much? Hey, what's the best like meal? Like, how do you feel about carnivore or whatever? And I just want to like, again, hold your hand when I say this. Like, the best workout for you is the one that you can stick to. The best meal plan, calorie, whatever, is the one you can stick to. The best of anything is something that you can consistently stick to, because like, again, domino effect that we talked about before, like that starts to trickle, then that domino falls and that domino falls. Like, we start building up the habit and consistency within ourselves and like that trust. Then you're doing more. Right. But like, we have to feel successful in it first.
Yeah, and if you constantly feel like a failure, you will continually be a failure.
You will continuously like draw in and then also you'll start, that's a whole other thing, is you'll start seeing all the ways that you fail.
Right.
Like, versus all the ways that you win. And
exactly.
Just like, I don't want to talk like manifestation, but it is kind of that thing. Once, if I had told you like, hey, think of a pink elephant, or like, don't think of a pink elephant, you're going to think of one. So like, if I'm just trying not to think of the ways that I'm failing, and I'm just going to see all my failures. Like, we have to feel successful and get some wins under our belt for it to feel like, okay, this is something I can do.
Yeah. And I think that kind of the last thing I'll say about that is just, if you've like written it in your planner or however you decide to like plan your day, I would encourage you, if you are a busy person, like whether it's your phone or your whatever, like have some sort of planner. But like, if you make the decision, like there's no like ifs, ands, or buts. Like, you already made the choice. Don't make it hard on yourself to like make another choice to not do it type of thing. It's like
negotiating.
Negotiating with yourself. Like, again, if you're just starting with 15 minutes, like, it's 15 minutes.
Yeah. I can scroll my phone for 15 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
Easily.
So it's like, just do what you already made the choice. So just go do it. Don't start negotiating with yourself. And I will say, like, I've gotten in that habit before of like, I had the gym scheduled for like 8 that morning.
Yeah.
Didn't feel like going. I'll go at 4 o'clock today. And then something gets busy with work and I can't go at 4, and then it's 8 p.m. and I don't want to go at 8 p.m.
Right.
So like, it just don't put it off. You decided this is when you're going to go, like, get up and go.
Yeah.
And if it's just the 15 minutes, do it tired.
Oh, yep.
Do it like,
literally.
Do it that way and it will
Stick
get
to
better.
the plan,
Like,
not your feelings.
Not your feelings. And I think that kind of like brings us into like the next thing I wanted to bring up, and kind of your thoughts on that, of like this like toxic cycle of like busyness, and like busyness is not productiveness.
Right.
It's like everybody's favorite
Busy
thing.
for what?
Yeah. But it's
Busy
like
for what?
everybody's favorite. Hey, how are you doing?
Oh, just
busy.
real busy.
Real busy.
So,
I'm like, doing what?
are you?
Are you?
Yeah. I actually am right now. But
yeah.
I'm like, not for real. I
There
thought I was busy
are.
before.
Yeah,
I'm busy
yeah.
now. But like,
Everybody's always busy. That's what.
Be a little bit more intentional with that answer, by the way. Like, that is one of my biggest pet peeves too, is like, oh, I'm busy. Or the other one is I'm good. Or everything's good. You can. I mean, that's cool if you just like don't want to talk about it. Your surface level. Sure.
My
but,
favorite
like,
answer is always like, do you want my real answer or do you want the typical good and
the
we
typical.
move on?
Oh, good. Yeah. Do you just want to move
Yeah.
on? No. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Busy for what? Like we're all, and that's the thing too, is like you're going to be busy for the rest of your life. Like you will find an excuse to start anything.
Yeah.
Honestly, like especially when you are scared, you have no knowledge, you have no like direction of anything, especially when it comes to like fitness, you know. It's really, really, really easy to be like, well, I have to wait until Gracie Lou is 5 and she's in daycare because then I can go. And I'm like, yeah, but you can do something now, man.
Yeah.
And then your daughter gets to watch you take care of yourself. Man, how
Crazy.
impactful is that going to be? Like,
When it's like, if you start a habit when you're busy, you'll never have an excuse to not stick with it. So it's like hire the coach when you can't afford it.
yeah.
You'll figure out the money, I promise.
Oh, yes.
Like, hire the coach when you don't have time. If you're paying for it, you'll find the time, right? So it's like crazy how all those things like kind of work out. But like when you're waiting for like a certain, like you're gonna wait yourself to death of like, I'll start at this time, I'll start at this time. Like there's never a perfect season. Like we talked about this like when I got pregnant of like,
oh yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, this is like kind of like, oh, this is like not an ideal time, this and that, and you're like, is there an ideal time? I'm like, no.
There's no ideal time to like have a baby.
Like, and there's no
Although
ideal
I
time
was a
for
5-year plan. Don't even start me on Kevin Coward, okay? Like,
yeah, right.
Literally, plans everything.
Exactly.
But yeah, like there's not an ideal time for anything,
Yeah.
especially like. But I mean, the age-old like time will pass anyway. You know, like imagine had we waited another year to do this podcast. Right? Like another year where you have a 1-year-old and you really kind of probably don't have the time, let alone like the sanity. Okay.
Right.
Like, so, you know, imagine had we not started where we'd be a year from now, but imagine where we're going to be a year from now because we started this now. Like, that's like what I want more people to understand.
1 hour every day is not easy until 15 minutes every day becomes easy.
Yeah.
And I think that's like kind of what we forget of like, oh, I'll wait till next year when I have an hour a day.
Yeah.
Like the hour a day is not going to be like, I've noticed it since stopping work, like how I'm not working right now.
Right.
Like I find myself busy throughout the day.
Sure.
I'm not like actually, right? I'm doing stuff that I enjoy.
Yeah.
But like my day is filled up.
Yeah.
Like I still have to put my workouts like on the calendar.
Kyle and I put money on this too, that this would happen.
Yeah.
You just like would not be able, you're like, I'm gonna relax. I'm gonna lay outside. And you have like, but like him and I both like, nah, you gonna find something.
Yeah. You
like,
gonna find something
you
to
gonna,
do.
like, has already like deconstructed her closet,
Yeah.
made a new closet, like has already like, she's, nah, you and I both. I say it from a place of like, I couldn't do it. So like, I can't sit down.
Yeah.
But anyway.
That is a kind of somewhat of a toxic trait.
Yeah.
But it is all like, it's nothing I have to do. It's just like fun things.
Yeah.
But I say that in the sense of like, I'm literally not doing anything and I still will like, there has been a couple days that I'm like, how is it 5 p.m. and I haven't gone to the gym?
Yeah.
Like I'm literally not doing anything.
Right.
So it's like, you're never not busy.
Sure.
Like you're just never not busy.
I wanted to also talk about like maybe some helpful tips. So I'm going to throw a couple at you.
Okay.
And I want you to just kind of say, here's how I would have done it when you were recruiting. I
Yeah.
feel like that's the most like, not everyone is deployed. So
The most relatable.
the most relatable one is you.
It was kind of corporate.
Yeah, is being like traveling, doing all these things. So we're going to start off with meal prep.
Yeah.
What would you find? How would you find the time? How would you block that? What was your, like, give us kind of the rundown on meal prep. Like 1, when you were home, not traveling. And then 2, when you would find yourself traveling. How did you do that? How did you stick to the, like, your nutrition?
Yeah. So, I did it 2 different ways. So the first is like the typical, like, yeah, you meal prep on Sunday. I am not somebody that likes microwaved food.
No.
It is, I wish I did. No. I just don't.
And you don't like leftovers really
I don't like
either.
leftovers. It's not convenient.
I'm a garbage can.
Yeah, you are.
I will eat it.
Kyle is too. So meal prep has always been like kind of annoying for me just because I don't love the taste, but it's also like sometimes in situations, especially if you have like a specific goal, it's kind of like you don't have to eat everything for enjoyment. Like you can eat some of it just because it's like supposed to nourish you type of thing. So anyway, on whatever day that week was most convenient, sometimes it was Monday, sometimes it was Sunday, whatever, I would prep 2 different proteins and 2 different carbs. Any type of like veggies, fruits, that kind of stuff I did like day of. But that I would have prepped, and I didn't separate into 18 freaking plastic things that froze up your whole.
The game changer is a big, huge Tupperware.
A big Tupperware. And then in the morning when you wake up, you just take your scale out and you scoop it and you go for the day.
Or the night before.
Or the night before.
Yeah.
And I think like even that, again, it is a habit. Like when you first start, put the scale out the night before. Take your supplements out the night before, things like that, because it doesn't take more time. It really doesn't take more time. It just takes thought. And so like make it easy for yourself. Leave that stuff out on the counter until it becomes a habit. So I would do that a lot of times, especially for during the week. If it was like a weekend or a slow day or something, like I just tried to cook fresh foods as best as I could. But for the most part, it was a meal prep. For traveling, I would look at like what type of travel it was and decide like essentially like, am I going to give my permission to just like eat out? Like, is it a one day and I have a social and this and that type of thing? Or do I want to be hitting my macros every single day on my meal plan, so on and so forth? So I made an intentional decision. So I'll say that first of like, I am intentionally deciding if I'm going to do one of those 2 things.
Sure.
And if it was sticking with like my meal plan or my macros, it's so not hard.
It's really
in
not.
the sense of like people think that like every hotel has a refrigerator, and if there's not a microwave in the room, there's a microwave downstairs. So like that part's really easy. All the airports, all the airplanes, all of that kind of stuff, they all let you bring food through.
Yeah.
Like you can bring it through security, you could pack it in a bag, like all of that stuff. So there's like this big misconception that it's like really hard to stay on track. Like I just treated it as if I was still here.
Right.
Like you just bring the bags of food.
Or
you can even freeze
it.
them.
That's what Megan used to not make me do, but like was like, hey, you should do this when I travel for compete, and I'd be gone for just a day. Like I'd fly in super late at night. I'd fly back the next afternoon. She was like, yeah, just freeze it, and then the morning that you're traveling, take it out of the freezer, and it will be defrosted by the time that you have lunch and dinner.
Exactly.
And I was like, mind blown.
And it's like not hard things, but again, it's just sometimes people, if you haven't ever done it before, you don't realize like, oh, there is a fridge in every, and if there's not, you can request one in your room. So like it's really not hard to do that as long as you set yourself up for success. So like if you're traveling on a Wednesday and you didn't meal prep on Sunday, like it's going to be kind of hard to stay on track if you're busy on Wednesday. So it's like you do have to set the intentional day of like, I'm going to meal prep these things. That way I'm prepped to go.
So talking about like traveling, the opposite of that, when you made the intentional decision to eat out, or you had a social event, like how would you handle drinks and how would you handle food? Yeah.
So when you give yourself permission to go do certain things, I have found that like it kind of takes the desire to overindulge away in the sense of like, I'm not breaking any rules. Like I'm allowing myself to have it. So that has always helped me. It's something Megan actually taught me. She's going to get a lot of shout outs on this one. But is that the first bite tastes exactly the same as the second one.
Yeah. And the third.
And the third. And the fourth.
Yeah.
So when it comes to like the chips and queso, like the apps and like the desserts, have a bite.
Yeah.
Have 2 bites.
Yeah.
But it tastes exactly the same, and like the food's not going anywhere. Like you can have another bite in a week type of thing. So like that's kind of how I would handle like the apps and the dessert.
The more socially setting stuff.
Exactly, yeah. Drinks, I would usually have like a singular glass of wine followed by like a Diet Coke. I will say like I did a lot of like diet sodas if I would be in social settings, just because having something in your hand like keeps 100%. The questions away. But like again, even if you want to have one drink, like instead of having a sex on the beach, have a vodka soda.
Right. Tequila. Like have a ranch water tequila.
Exactly.
Like soda water, lime.
Yeah. And then the big like meals and stuff, I've just kind of always followed the whole like eat your protein and your veggies first.
Right.
Fill up and then eat whatever's left.
Yeah.
And like when you do it that way, again, it's I'm not giving mind-blowing advice, but it's like,
but also people need permission to do this. You know what I mean? Like they need to feel like, because I do have a lot of clients who are like, well, I feel guilty not eating the pizza that's in front of me or not having the donuts that they brought in for this work meeting and stuff. I'm like, yeah, but that's not where you're at in the season of life. And you can have a donut in a year from now when you, or, you know what, not a year from now, but you know what I mean? Like you're not missing on anything.
No.
You're just upholding a boundary.
Mm-hmm.
And for an example, my hairstylist, Brenda, love her to death. She's on her own journey and she goes, oh my gosh, someone just brought in a coffee for me, right? Like I feel guilty not drinking it in front of them, but it's a fruitier coffee, not a fruitier coffee, but like not a fruity coffee, but like a, one of those fraps or sugary, whatever. And like, I said, okay, here's what you do. Like, because yeah, sure, you don't want to be rude, but like you are withholding a boundary for yourself.
Yeah.
You are holding a promise to yourself. Like, not saying that you can't ever have donuts or that stuff again at a work meeting, but right now is not the time in which you are. Mm-hmm. So like, and I don't want people to think, oh, this is a place of restriction. It's just a place of like, hey, this is a season of you're telling yourself no on some things. Like, when was the last time you told yourself no? And so I told her, I said, hey, have a couple sips and then go, hey, I'm just like, and it was like noon too. I was like, just say like, you're not really feeling like you had a coffee already, take a couple sips and then go put it in the fridge.
Yeah.
And then that way they don't know that like, you're gonna throw it out later or something probably, right? Like they feel like, oh, she took a cup, cool, like because you don't want to. I get not wanting to feel guilty. Someone brought you something. Yeah, be appreciative of, but like still uphold the boundary that you set for yourself in these social settings and that sort of thing.
Yeah, and like people are only going to address it one time. Like the whole like not like feeling guilty of like not eating the pizza. Like if they notice like you're eating a salad instead of pizza, you're gonna get a comment.
Sure.
Just because that's how people are.
Yep.
But they're going to make one comment and then you're going to say, I just don't want pizza right now.
Yeah.
And they leave it alone. And it's like, I don't know why it's like there's so much pressure because I've had many conversations with you, Meg, all these people about that kind of stuff. But it's like you say no once and they kind of leave it alone. And then you become the person that doesn't drink or the person that doesn't want this. And it's like nobody says anything anymore. So it just takes the one time to do it. And I would even say like, when you give yourself the permission to say no to the dessert, to say no to the drink or whatever, the whole building trust with yourself.
Yeah.
It's like you can go out to eat with friends and you can socialize and still meet goals.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to avoid all of those things.
No,
like you can still go.
I remember even in prep, like I think it was like Xander's birthday or something. We went to a Mexican restaurant and it was, granted, I'm around people too that understand what I'm doing. Right. So the support is there, which is nice. So like at the same time, tell your people like what you're doing because like, honestly, like there's a lot of other people too that are like, oh, well, I'm actually training for a triathlon. Oh, well, I'm actually like health is not as like taboo as it used to be.
Right.
Like everyone's kind of doing something. And so if this is a journey that you're on, oh, I'm just actually like really trying to find better ways to honor myself and my body right now. You don't have to say like, oh, I'm trying to lose weight. Like, unless you want to be super candid about it, but like, you don't have to. You can just be like, oh, I'm just like, I just want to try something else for right now. And
I finally got to a point of literally like, why are you worried about what I'm eating?
Right. Yeah.
Why are you worried about it?
You should be worried about what you'll eat.
Yeah, right? Exactly.
But like, I remember being at the Mexican restaurant, brought my Tupperware, but I still wanted to celebrate him. It was hard. It was the first time that I could not have chips and salsa. Like, and I'm a big chips and salsa girl. Like,
matter of fact, I might go get some chips and salsa after this.
Yeah, right. Like, I was just like, oh man, that is kind of difficult. But honestly, it wasn't that hard because this is not new for me, right? But like, so it takes some time to like have those boundaries with yourself. All right, my next one is steps.
Yeah.
Right, because that was a really important thing for you at the time, still is. Like, how did you start to kind of incorporate that?
Yeah, so steps, again, same thing. You got to be intentional about it in the beginning, and then it becomes second nature. So everything, just understand, like, you don't have to do every single tip that we give you all at once.
Yeah,
but
pick one.
Steps start as literally as simple as, like, park farther away. Take the stairs instead of the elevator. Go the long way around. It sounds so dumb, but like those things really do add up. Yeah. Right. And so it's like start with those very basic things instead of like driving around the parking lot for 4 hours.
You literally got to a point where you got a walking pad.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you were like, hey, I'm not getting my steps in and I'm having to do them at 10 p.m. at night. You're like, I'm just going to get a walking pad in my office and take meetings on it. Or I don't know if you did like actual computer work doing it, but like, Yeah.
Yeah. And if you have like a super sedentary job, like I had days like that, the walking pad is a game changer because like you were saying, phone calls, like all that kind of stuff, you can walk. I wasn't very good at like typing.
I
And
can't.
I don't know how
think
people
I
do
could
that.
do that either. Yeah.
But all your phone calls, all that kind of stuff, like you can walk if you know, maybe you're not in a city that you can like go take a lap around the building in or something. So like it's convenient to have there.
Yeah, when I was working at Guns Point, there ain't no way I was doing that.
Yeah, exactly. So it's
Right by
like
the highway.
it does make things very and it you can roll it in front of your TV and like use your scrolling time on your phone while you're multitasking instead of sitting on the couch, like different things like that. I think some people are like, oh, it's so expensive. Like they're $100 on Amazon.
Literally, they're not that
They're
expensive.
$100 on Amazon. Like, and they literally like fit underneath a bed. Like
Right.
anybody can have one.
Yeah.
So yeah, little things like that. And then like if you're one of those again people that start very sedentary, do all of those things, you'll start to notice a lot of steps go up. And then it's just okay, maybe it's you take 20 minutes to eat lunch and then you go for a 20-minute walk.
Sure. Yeah.
You wake up 15 minutes earlier and you literally just take a lap around the block or whatever the case may be.
1 mile takes like what 12 minutes to hit.
Something like that. Yeah, it depends on how fast you go, but 12 to 20 minutes depending on where you're at.
Yeah.
And then like in the
I
evenings,
remember I would get 1,000 steps every 10 minutes.
Same.
So that's kind of like where I'm like, okay, I've got 20 minutes. I can get
exactly
2,000 to 2,500 steps right now.
Yeah. When like there's other things too of like make it a family thing.
Yeah.
Instead of doing family TV time, go for a family walk. Instead of like sitting on the back porch with your husband at the end of the night, like go for a walk and talk. Like different things like that make it to where you're not paying attention to like, oh, I gotta go run. It's 10 p.m. and I gotta run 3 miles.
And I just want to really preface this, like why we're talking about steps and the importance of it. It's just a way to increase your NEAT, right? Like your non-exercise calories.
Yeah.
It's just a way in which you can take care of your health a little
There's
bit more.
actually a study. Was I telling you
love
this?
studies.
Love a study.
Love a study.
Casey Means talks about it. You know, I'm a Casey Means nerd, but there's a direct correlation. They studied like sedentary versus movement and stuff to 7,000 steps and a life expectancy. So people with a average 7,000 steps or 7K steps or more have like 15% higher longevity.
Yeah.
I'm gonna mess that up. I'll follow up with me next podcast. Bring the exact thing, but it's just like it's good for your heart. It's good for longevity.
It's good.
It
for
helps with
health.
fitness.
Yeah.
Good for mental health. If you're trying to lose weight, it's so underutilized.
Oh my gosh.
Like all those things, and so like that's why we talk a lot about a lot of that stuff.
And then my last one that I wanted to ask, we've kind of touched on already, but just like working out.
Yeah.
Like what is the best way you found for yourself to be adaptable? Like say you were traveling and like, did you look at the hotel's gym beforehand, or did you like just get there and look at the hotel gym and be like, okay, I need to go get a day pass somewhere? Or did you just say, hey, I'm going to schedule a rest day on that day and then do it when you get home? What was your like?
Yeah, I think it kind of changed over time. So a lot of times in the beginning, I would just be like, this day will be a rest day and I'll work out the day before or the day after or something like that. And then I just kind of found that like it was giving me more of an excuse to like call it a travel day instead of just like it's just a day of work type of thing. And if you're somebody that travels, like it is just a day of work. Yeah. So like you have to figure out the workarounds. And so if you are somebody that travels a lot, there's a Planet Fitness in literally every town. I don't care how tiny it is. So like I had a Planet Fitness membership for a long time. Didn't use it unless I was traveling. I'm not a huge Planet Fitness fan, but it's a gym and it really does have everything you need for the most part.
I had a bunch of rodeo athletes at the time. Like that was the only gym that they really could get access to because they were traveling so much that I was like, okay, hit your Planet Fitness workout, you know?
Exactly. And so they have those everywhere. Hotel gyms are great. They're kind of busy. I use them for steps a lot of times, but Planet Fitness is $10 a month. Like, come on now.
Right.
But if you're somebody that it's like an every week thing, like you're traveling, they have ClassPass now.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
So ClassPass is like $70 a month, and just use that as your membership because you can use it when you're home.
Yeah.
And literally anywhere where you travel, you can take classes. So like maybe you're not motivated. You can go to
Dude,
the gym.
I used to like love when I worked for Dale and like we would be gone for somewhere. Like we would come to Fort Worth for the Fort Worth rodeo and I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna do yoga.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to a Pilates class.
It's like when you go on vacation and you're like, you think you're gonna become this person that like,
But like
I'm gonna wear all these
when
outfits.
I lived in Newcastle, there was like one gym. There's like one CrossFit gym, one Anytime Fitness or whatever. And so like you don't have like the like boutique stuff. And so when we come into towns, I'd be like, ugh, I can't wait to take a hot yoga class. I can't like it was almost just like a nice vacation for me to like have some
fun,
something different, something fun. But anyway, okay, so that was kind of the only 3 topics I think would be super good, helpful tips for people that are a little bit struggling on like, I'm too busy, my scheduling, like all of this stuff. Do you have anything that you want to add?
No, I think I'll just kind of summarize.
Yeah.
Because it is such a big question that we get. Like these are like the practical take home apply today.
Yeah.
The first one is set your floor, like whatever you can commit to. I would literally say 15 minutes. Plan your schedule out and put your workout in pen.
Yeah.
And then commit to that. And do not allow yourself to go more than the 15 minutes for 4 weeks.
Yep.
Once you do that, move up to 30 minutes. And then treat every day as if it's just a normal day. So it doesn't matter if you're traveling. It doesn't matter if you have long hours. It doesn't matter if you were sedentary that day. Just treat every day the same. You don't have to change much just because you're traveling. So bring your food, do your 15-minute workout in whatever capacity that looks like, but just make it easy. Just make it easy for yourself and start there. So
great.
That's all I got today. You got anything else you want to add?
Not really. No, not really.
No, you covered it.
Not really. Yeah, that's pretty much it. All right, guys.
Yeah.
Well, that was episode 5.
Yeah.
Like, share, subscribe.
At some point, we're going to forget the number.
And and also call your mom.
Yeah, call your mom.
Or call your dad. Someone. Call someone you love.
Yeah.
Okay,
Your
that's
dog.
it.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.